19. Those who are equipped with a noble insight and are thoroughly conversant with the suchness of reality, know well how to turn over ideas and reach the other shore of the Vijnana. 520. This is the seal of emancipation belonging to those sons who have embraced my teaching. It is released from existence and non-existence, removed from coming and going. 521. If karma disappears by causing a transformation in the world of matter and the Vijnanas, permanence and impermanence no more obtain, and transmigration ceases. 522. When this transformation takes place, the idea of matter is shaken off, space relations are banished, but karma released from the fault of being and non-being abides with the alaya. 523. While matter and Vijnanas pass into annihilation, karma abides with the being of the alaya which is not destroyed, whereby there is the union of matter and Vijnanas. 524. If people's karma which is in combination with them is destroyed, karma succession being thus destroyed, there will be no transmigration, no attainment of nirvana. 525. If karma is destroyed together with matter and Vijnanas, and yet is subject to transmigration, matter will then subsist as it differs in no way from karma. 526. Mind and matter are neither different nor not different from discrimination. There is no distinction of all things as they are removed from being and non-being. 527. The parikalpita and the paratantra are mutually dependent and are not to be differentiated. Thus with matter and impermanency, they are mutually conditioning. 528. Apart from oneness and otherness the parikalpita is not knowable. So with matter and impermanency, how can one speak of their being and non-being? 529. When the parikalpita is thoroughly understood as to its nature, the paratantra is not born. When the paratantra is understood, the parikalpita becomes suchness. 530. When the parikalpita is destroyed my dharma I1 is destroyed. And there takes place within my teaching the controversy of assertion and negation. 531. In this way, then, and at that time, there will rise disparagers of the dharma, none of whom are worth talking with as they are destroyers of my dharma I. 532. As they are not taken into the company of the intelligent, they abandon the life of the bhikshu. And as they destroy the parikalpita, they are engaged in controversies asserting and negating. 533. As their insight is bound up with being and non-being, what appears to their imagination resembles a hairnet, maya, a dream, the Gandharv city, a mirage, etc. 534. He who studies under the Buddhas may not live together with those who cherish dualism and are destroyers of others. 535. But if there are yogins who see a being separated from the imagination and released from existence and non-existence, a Buddhist may associate with them i.e. such yogins. 536. It is like a mine in the earth producing gold and precious stones. It harbors no cause of strife in it, and yet it furnishes people with various means of subsistence. 537. Likewise, though the essence too of all beings appears various, it has nothing to do with karma. As the visible world is non-existent, there is no karma, nor is the path born of karma. 538. As is understood by the wise, all things have no self-being, but according to the discriminations of the ignorant things appear to exist. 539. If things are not existent as discriminated by the ignorant, all things being non-existent, there are no defilements for anyone. 540. Because of varieties of defilement cherished by beings there is transmigration, and the sense organs are completed. Being bound up by ignorance and desire there is the evolution of beings possessed of a body. 541. If beings are not existent as discriminated by the ignorant, there will be no evolving of the sense organs in these beings, which is not the Yogins' view. 542. If beings themselves are not and yet they become the cause of transmigration, then there will be an emancipation which is independent of people's strivings. 543. If beings are non-existent to you, how can there be any distinction between the wise and the ignorant? Nor will there be anything characterizing the wise who are disciplining themselves for the triple emancipation. 544. The skandhas, personal soul, doctrines, individuality and generality, know signs, causation, and senses. Of these I talk for the sake of the Sravakas. 545. No cause, mind only, the powers, the stages of bodhisattvahood, the inner realization, pure suchness. Of these I talk for the sake of the bodhisattvas. 546. In the time to come there will be disparagers of my teaching who, putting on the Kashaya robe, will talk about being and non-being and its works. 547. Things born of causation are non-existent. This is the realm of the wise. A thing imagined has no reality, yet things are imagined by the theorizers. 548. In the time to come there will be a class of ignorant people headed by Kanabhaja. They will talk about the non-existence of work, and will ruin the people with their evil theories. 549. The world is originated from atoms, atoms are causeless, and there are 9 permanent substances. Such evil theories they teach. 550. They say that substances are produced by substances, and so qualities by qualities. And they destroy the self-being of all things, saying that it is another being. 551. If it is said that originally the world was not and then evolved, it must have had a beginning. But my statement is that there is no primary limit to transmigration. 552. If all the innumerable things in the triple world were not and then evolved, nobody would doubt if horns grow on a bitch, or a she-camel, or a donkey. 553. If the eye, form, and vijnana were not and now they are, straw mats, crowns, cloth, etc., would be produced from lumps of clay. 554. A straw mat is not found in cloth, nor cloth in a straw matting. Why is it that by some combination anything is not produced from any other thing? 555. That life and the body so-called were not and then evolved. All such controversies as this have been declared by me as untrue. 556. The statement has been made first against the philosophers and their views are warded off. Their views being warded off, I will make my own statement. 557. While I first make a statement in behalf of the philosophical systems, let not my disciples be disturbed by my drawing on the dualism of being and non-being. 558. That the world is born of a supreme soul and that changes are due to the qualities. This is what the school of Kapita teaches its disciples. But it is not the right way of thinking. 559. There is no reality, no non-reality, nor is there any world of causation conditioned by causation. As there is nothing to be characterized as causation, non-reality never has its rise. 560. My statement is free from the alternatives of being and non-being, is removed from cause and condition, has nothing to do with birth and destruction, and is removed from qualified and qualifying. 561. When the world is regarded as like Maya and a dream, exempt from cause and condition, and eternally causeless, there is no rising of imagination. 562. When existence is always regarded as resembling the Gandharv city, a mirage, a hairnet, and as free from the alternatives of being and non-being, removed from cause and condition, and causeless, then the mind flows clear of defilements. 563. The philosophers may say that if there is no external reality, mind only too will be non-existent. How can mind exist without objective reality? The doctrine of mind only one therefore is untenable. 564. Further, they may say that on account of an objective world of realities, people's minds are aroused. How can there be a mind without a cause? The doctrine of mind only one is therefore untenable. 565. But suchness and mind only one are realities belonging to the teaching of the wise. Neither those who deny nor those who affirm comprehend my teachings. 566. If a mind is said to evolve on account of perceived and perceiving, this is the mind that is of the world. Then the mind only obtains not. 567. When it is said that there is something resembling body, property, and abode produced in a dream-like manner, a mind, indeed, is seen under the aspect of duality. But mind itself is not dualistic. 568. As a sword cannot cut itself, or as a finger cannot touch its own tip, mind cannot see itself. 569. In the state of imagelessness there is no reality, no parikalpita, no paratantra, no five dharmas, no twofold mind. 2. 570. The dualism of giving birth and being born belongs to the nature of things. When I speak of the giving birth of things that have no self-nature, it is on account of a hidden meaning. 571. If multiplicities of forms are born of imagination, there will be something of objectivity in the notion of space, in that of a hare's horns. 572. When an objective reality is of mind, this reality does not belong to imagination. But reality born of imagination is something other than mind and is unobtainable. 573. In a transmigration that has no beginning, an objective world nowhere obtains. When there is no nourishing mind, where can an objective semblance take its rise? 574. If there is any growth from nothingness, horns will grow on a hare. Let no discrimination take place, thinking that something grows out of nothing. 575. As there is nothing existing now, so there was nothing existing previously. Where there is no objective world, how can a mind which is bound up with an objective world take its rise? 576. Suchness, emptiness, reality limit, nirvana, the dharmadhatu, no birth of all things, self-being. These characterize the highest truth. 577. The ignorant, who cherish the notion of being and non-being, by imagining causes and conditions, are unable to understand that all things are causeless and unborn. 578. The mind is manifested. There is no objective world of pluralities whose cause is in the beginningless past. If there is no objective world since the beginningless past, how does individualization one ever come to exist? 579. If anything grows from nothingness, the poor will become rich. When there is no objective world, how can a mind be born? Pray tell me, O Muni. 580. As all this is causeless, there is neither mind nor objective world. As the mind is not born, the triple world is devoid of doings. 581 to 613. 614. The statement that a hare has no horns is made out of the reasonings concerning a jar, a garment, a crown, and a horn. Where there is no complete cause, there is no real existence. Thus you should know. 615. There is non-existence when proof of existence is produced. Non-existence does not prove non-existence. Existence, indeed, looks for non-existence, they look for each other and are mutually conditioned. 616. If it is thought, again, that something appears depending on something else, the something thus depended upon must be causeless, but there is nothing that is causeless. 617. If it is said that there is another reality which is depended on, then this must have still another reality to depend on. This is committing the fault of non-finality. May it not end in reaching nowhere? 618. Depending on leaves, pieces of wood, etc. The magical charm is affected. In like manner, pluralities of objects depending on some other objects are manifested to the people. 619. The magical net is neither the leaves nor the pieces of wood, nor the pebbles. It is owing to the magician that the magic scene is perceived by the people. 620. Thus when something of magic depending on some objects is destroyed, dualism ceases at the moment of seeing. How will there be anything of discrimination? 621. The discriminated by discrimination exist not, and discrimination itself does not obtain. Discrimination being thus unobtainable, there is neither transmigration nor nirvana. 622. Discrimination now being unobtainable, it is not aroused. Discrimination not being aroused, how can a mind rise? Mind only then is not tenable. 623. When thought is divided into many, the teaching lacks in validity. And owing to the absence of validity, there is no emancipation, nor is there multitudinousness of objects. 624. There is no such objective world as is discriminated by the ignorant. When the mind goes astray on account of habit energy, it manifests itself like images. 625. All things are unborn and have nothing to do with being and non-being. All is nothing but mind and is delivered from discrimination. 626. For the ignorant things are said to be causal, but not for the wise. When the self-nature of mind is liberated, it becomes pure where the wise have their abode. 627. Thus, the Samkhya, the Vaishshika, the naked philosophers, the Brahmin theologians, followers of Shiva, cherishing views based on being and non-being, are destitute of the truth of solitude. 628. Having no self-nature, being unborn, being empty, being like Maya, being free from defilements. To whom is this taught by the Buddhas as well as by yourself? 629. For the sake of the Yogins who are pure in mind, spiritual discipline is taught by the Buddhas who are free from theories and speculations, and such is also proclaimed by me. 630. If all this is the mind, where does the world stand? Why are men seen coming and going on earth? 631. As a bird moves in the air according to its fancy without abiding anywhere, without depending on anything, as if moving on earth. 632. So people with all their discrimination move along, walk about in the mind itself like a bird moving in the air. 1. 633. Tell me how something looking like body, property, and abode rises from the mind. How does appearance take its rise? Why is mind only? Pray tell me. 634. Body, property, and abode are appearances and their rise is due to habit energy. Appearances are born of irrationality, their rise is due to discrimination. 635. Objectivity discriminated makes the world, a mind takes its rise from recognizing objectivity. When it is clearly perceived that what is seen is the mind itself, discrimination ceases. 636. When discrimination is seen as to its true nature, it is noticed that name and sense are to be disjoined too, then both knowledge and knower will be discarded, and one is released of the samskrita. 637. To abandon both name and sense, this is the way of all the Buddhas. Those who wish to get enlightened in any other way will not attain enlightenment for themselves, nor for others. 638. 639. When the world is seen detached from knowledge and knowability, there is no meaning to it, and discrimination ceases to go forth.